How's it going, super friends? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Brad, the DC Universe Geek, and today I have the privilege to be able to bring to you my review of the first of many Spin Master 4-inch DC Comics action figure reviews. Today we'll be examining Cyborg, Shazam, Superman, Flash, and black-suited bearded Superman from their Heroes Unite action figure line. The front of the packaging for all of these is pretty much exactly the same. You got the blue band along the bottom. On the left-hand side, you have that little explosion with the question mark 3 mystery accessories, and a little shiny first edition sticker right there in the top right. On the right hand side of the package, you've got some of the bubble that extends around the outside with some scissors and a little arrow pointing down to yank the pull tab. Top of the box has DC logo and more of the bubble. Bottom of the box has the barcodes, and the left hand side of the box is blue and gray with the DC logo and the logo of each character in the package. On the back of the package has an image of the figure you're getting on the inside. It's with what mission will you get? 1, 2, 3, or 4. Alright, so now let's open all these guys up, starting with Superman. Even though there's that serrated mark right here and you can cut it with scissors, although if it's serrated, why do you need to use scissors? Really, you could just cut the tape and just pull it out so you don't have to ruin it. Here's what it looks like when you open up Superman's box. There's a collectible trading card. You can see the perforation lines around it. Each of the 3 mystery boxes right there with a little push tab. And of course, the figure itself right there in the bubble. Let's remove the... I'm going to call it a locker. This looks like a locker. Let's remove his locker, or possibly you could call it a filing cabinet, right from the box. Ah, perfect. Now they can be separate. Pull the perforations in the trading card, and in the back of the trading card you find absolutely nothing. And then we'll remove Superman from his super bubble. Oh yeah, and each one comes with this fold out. There we go. That is each mission: Metropolis Mayhem, Central City Clash, Coast City Crisis, and Alien Attack. Also on the other side, you can see exactly what missions you get, whether it's Metropolis Mayhem, Alien Attack, Central City Clash, or Coastline Crisis. And I guess, judging by these little pictures right here, that's what you can tell by. And here's the legend for the material finishes. And you have the 4 up here, as well as rare and red being super rare. Since these are all pretty much going to be the same, let's open them all up now. And through the magic of YouTube, kapoof! There, that was easy. And here we have them all in front of us now. Black Suit Superman, Flash, regular Superman, Shazam, and Cyborg. Here are each of the trading cards. We've already seen the Superman trading card. Here is the Shazam card, the Cyborg card, Black Suit Soups, and the Flash. Interesting. Let's open up these accessory boxes before we actually begin to look at all the figures. This one here is for the Black Suit Superman. Superman gets 1, 2, 3. And I'm not going to do this for all of them, but here is Superman's chest piece made out of armored steel. Does this fall under red or explosive crystal? I think it falls under red. And then obviously the green would be elemental neon. Flash box. Pop, pop, pop. Oh, and that's not dirt, by the way. That's a bruise under my thumbnail. And Flash gets a cyclone, some lightning, and a golden chest plate. Okay, so actually you know what mission you got by the armor you have. Now let's open up the second super box, which comes with red heat vision, another green kryptonite thing, and another blue chest piece. Shazam! Let's open up his box. Pop, pop, pop. And Shazam gets a steel girder, some Shazam lightning, and a little tiny golden Billy Batson. Actually, this looks like a bronzed or a gold statue you'd find in like a public park somewhere. And finally, Cyborg Superman's little lock boxes here, they're gonna open. And in Cyborg Superman's lock box, we have a shiny black, silverish, looks like jetpack, chainsaw, that's kinda cool. And a red arm cannon of some kind. Maybe it's his sonic disruptor. And that's all of them. So now let's take a closer look at each of the figures. And we are gonna start it all off with Krypton's last son, Superman. So this is Superman in his reborn suit. It's the post-rebirth but pre-Action Comics 1000 iteration of his suit. You can tell by the belt there. They just didn't fill in the top little chevron with yellow. And then the face sculpt, here it is up close. And I think that it actually looks like a pretty good comically cartoony version of a 4-inch scale Superman figure designed for kids. I think that this looks pretty darn nice. I like this guy. He's big and buff and Superman-y and V-torsoed, and he's got abs for days and pecs and big biceps, and yeah, I really like this guy. Unfortunately for mine, the red and yellow don't line up with his chest emblem, but I mean, that's really not a huge deal. The cape has been sculpted over the shoulders. It is kind of nice to see that they did include a very tidy looking emblem of his cape on the back, and it just kind of sticks into a hole back there, and it is just a little piece of fabric. But remember, these were never really intended for the adult collector market, at least not primarily. Now, since I've got Superman in hand, I'll do the articulation segment with him because they're pretty much all going to have the exact same articulation. So I won't bore you by doing it with all of them. Superman's head's on what looks like a ball peg. You can't really do much with it aside from turn it around and around. Armpits on that rounded hinge, and it's pretty good. You have a good range of movement there. Look at the size of that forearm. The elbow actually is single jointed, but you get a good range of motion there, beyond 90 degrees. Nothing in the bicep, nothing at all in the torso, not even a waist swivel. You do have the ball joints in the groin, forwards and backwards. That's what he gets. They've also got a little thigh cut, a single jointed knee, and really that's it. Although it is worth noting that the single-jointed elbows actually rotate, as do the single-jointed knees. They also rotate. Yeah, call me dumb, but I think that this is actually a perfectly fine amount of articulation to be built into action figures intended for children's imaginative playtime. And finally, here's what Supes looks like when you've got all of his accessories on him. The heat vision headband goggles, the kryptonite in hand thing, and then the chest piece. I actually really like the chest pieces though. I think that these are fantastic little pieces of armor. Cool, now let's do Flash, who looks pretty fantastic too. Bright red, bright yellow, the same big buff body pretty much that Superman has, only it does have its own unique sculpted detail in that of the waist and also in the wrists, not to mention in his boots, as well as some of the sculpted line detail. It seems clear to me that they start with the same basic computer mold and then add details to it as they go for each character. They did a pretty good job on the lightning bolt on his chest too. I actually like the fact they didn't give it a black outline. As for Flash's face sculpt, it's pretty good for a little 4-inch figure. There is a little bit of yellow paint slop there on the ear wings, so that could be a little bit better, but I have to keep reminding myself that these are not intended for me. These are intended pretty much for children, and children don't tend to raise a stink about this kind of stuff. And here's what Flash looks like with his windy hand and his lightning bolt feather duster and his gold-plated chest armor. Seriously, what would you call that? That looks like a lightning bolt feather duster. That's clearly supposed to be a cyclone, but except for he's holding it, it looks more like a megaphone. Everybody, free admission to the Flash Museum! But just like Superman, I think that these chest pieces are really cool looking. I like these the best out of all the accessories. And now we have Captain Marvel. I mean Shazam. Who am I kidding? I mean Captain Marvel. And he's sporting his New 52/Rebirth look. He's got all kinds of new sculpted detail with the boots, the belt, the wrist cuffs, the chest. Basically, just like I said with the Flash and Superman, they're probably all pretty much the exact same buck in the computer that they then add their own sculpted detail to. The paint apps for this figure look pretty neat and tidy for what they are, a child's plaything. And I remember what the toys were like that I used to play with as a kid, and they didn't have perfect paint apps by far. For $7.99 to have an accurately sculpted Rebirth Captain Marvel Shazam, I think we're doing pretty good. And look, here's his face. What can I say? It's Shazam. And here he is with his accessories. You can't really, make Billy an accessory. I mean, wow, he's really small in comparison to Shazam. He's tiny. But here's his lightning thing. It's supposed to be him shooting lightning out of his hand, but it's funny because he has to hold it like a gun. And then here's his bent up girder. Not really sure why that would be a piece of mission gear. And then we have Cyborg, who is completely newly sculpted, 100%. He's shiny, he's silver, he's got some accents that are like a darker grayish silver. The Cyborg emblem on his chest is actually painted quite nicely in comparison to what they could have done. It seems like they've paid a close enough amount of attention to this guy to try and make him intricate and interesting enough while having a mostly silver character. I think they did a pretty good job on that. As for that face sculpt, here it is, close up. Yep, that's Cyborg with a gigantic eye on the one side. Seriously, that's a big eye. But as far as the accessory situation goes, I think that Cyborgs are probably the best and the most practical and make the most sense. We can see Cyborg's jetpack here, and we know that he's used one of these before. We can see what I assume is his sonic disruptor, and we've seen him use one of those before. And then of course he's got this really cool chainsaw accessory that, honestly, if he hasn't used one before, I don't care. It looks really cool. Hello, Arborist for hire. Arborist for ya. And finally, we've got old Blackie Suit Superman here. And it's the exact same body sculpt as the regular red and blue Superman, only gets all just molded in black plastic with silver highlights for the belt, the top of the boots, and the S. Which, by the way, is actually painted on really nice. But yeah, as you can see, exact same mold, even to the point where the cape, where it's supposed to be, it's still molded there over his shoulders, and you can see the slot where the cape is supposed to go. One thing that is vastly different about the Superman is that he's got a beard. The Lumberjack Superman. So far, I'm pretty impressed with these guys, and their immediate, most recent competitor as far as childhood DC Comics action figures designed for a child's imaginative playtime go, I would compare these first off to Mattel's Justice League action figures. That is so awkward to say. And as you can see, they are quite a bit smaller. But to the left of Flash and the right of Superman, I brought in two Infinite Heroes figures also from Mattel, and they're larger than those guys. So they fall somewhere in the middle. Of course, the size comparison wouldn't be complete until I compared them to Superpowers figures, so you can see here Flash and Superman. And why not bring in a few other Superman figures that were aimed squarely at young children? So far, I think for overall value, these Spin Master ones have blown all four of these out of the water. And for the final comparison, I've brought out all four of the Funko DC figures that came in those loot boxes. Starfire, Classic Nightwing, Classic Cyborg, and Raven. Man, I really wish that they had made more of these. And I suppose now, finally, since we've gone through all this, it would now be the opportune time for me to present my final thoughts and opinions about these brand new 4-inch Spin Master DC Comics action figures. Personally, I certainly think that they're a very good attempt at Spin Master's part to bring DC Comics characters to a younger-based action figure collecting audience, and these are perfect for children's imaginative playtime. I know my youngest son, Robert, loves the Imaginext DC figures, and he also loves the Justice League action figures. And as soon as he gets his hands on a set of these, it'll be just the same. He won't be able to put them down, and he'll probably want an entire set of these too. Hey listen, kids don't play with action figures very much these days, so far be it from me to keep them from him. If the boy wants a bunch of DC figures, the boy can have them. That's why God invented Christmas, and birthdays, and grandmas. But yeah, I certainly do think you get pretty good value for your money. You get unique sculpts, a reasonable amount of articulation, and paint app quality that is also pretty reasonable. It's okay. So personally, I think if you can find these bad boys hanging up on the pegs in your local Target or Walmart or wherever, and you're hemming and hawing about them, I say pick them up, well, at least if you have kids. And if you're an adult collector, I'd get them too, because, well, I mean, I'm a completionist, so I mean, oh, it's shameful. I buy pretty much every DC action figure I can get my dirty hands on. These included. Because I loves them, and they're fun. And that's why we buy toys, isn't it? Because toys are fun. Fun, 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 fun. But anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, found it a useful, interesting waste of time. And if you did, you know how to use the like button. And if you want to see more, you know how to use the subscribe button. And if you do, then you will become a super friend and join the DC squad. And with that, I will see you next time with the next video. Have a DC day, everybody, and take care.